Now my side is my main job.
It's the dream.
What are the drawbacks of operating as a business now?
Nothing.
Let's not say that.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we proudly present to you an episode that talks more about what you need to have in your life with your hosts, Keith
and Josh.
And what is it that we need, Josh?
I love that you're excited about this topic and not so much the ones you did know, like the debt negotiation. You're just like, this one, yes, I get behind this. The other one, like, I have no clue.
It's because I come from a standpoint of learning where I'm like, oh, yes, okay, exactly. Can you clarify that? Now it's like, yes, let's talk about the fun stuff. Why you need to operate your own business.
Yes, that is the main important part. All of this, first thing is the mindset change. No matter what, if you work for somebody else, you work 2 to 3 jobs or whatever, you are already a business. The business is you. If you have an employer, you work at a W-2 job, guess what? You have 1 client. If you have 2 part-time jobs, 3 part-time jobs, whatever you do, you have 3 clients. 2, 3, whatever the amount is. But you are already a business. Your business right now as an employee is trading your time for money. And I want to get you into start thinking like, yes, I am a business. Now, as a business, I don't want to rely on only one source of income because guess what? If you get fired, laid off, all of a sudden furloughed for an indefinite amount of time because of a global pandemic, then you have lost your source of income. And as a business, that is detrimental. You see a lot of them closing up and everything like that. So you want to diversify and spread out your sources of income.
Yep.
And that's why thinking like a business will help. There's also some great benefits to it from a tax standpoint, because as much as everybody hates big business, America loves small business, and they will give you tons of tax benefits for operating a small business. So, first, everybody should have in some way a formal business. Whether it is a hobby that you turn into a business, like making cupcakes and selling it, bakery, Uber driving, Lyft, any of those things that are side hustles, you got to start thinking in that business mindset.
Yep, we had a previous episode on why you should be an entrepreneur. We touched upon this a little bit as well, where you're going to be able to write off certain things. And when we come from a standpoint, of, you have a business, you went through your state to make the business. When you're writing off things for your business, they're things that you're actually using that you would normally use anyway. Like if you use your cell phone for your business, then you're able to write off your cell phone bill because you use your cell phone for that business. So if you have a cell phone now and you primarily use that anyway, as Josh was saying, getting into that mindset, it's realizing, are there things I'm doing now that I'm already paying for that could be expense to a business that I do as a hobby or as a professional?
Yeah. And one warning about that stuff is when you do this for tax savings and everything, the IRS is going to look at it and you got to classify what's the difference between a hobby and a business.
Yes. So that's why I say you have to really know what it is you're writing off and why, not just, oh yeah, I'm writing off every meal I have because I need food.
Well, the main difference in the IRS eyes is the business has to try to make money.
Yeah.
Yes, it can operate at a loss for a certain amount of time, but you actually have to be trying to make money. Where the difference is in a hobby is you're never trying to make money. It's all about, just doing it for the fun and the passion, and you're not actually trying to show a profit. If you do that for multiple years in your filing, and the IRS is going to look at it, and they're going to just go back and be like, nope, this whole time you were not a business. You were not operating in a way to try to make money. So all those tax deductions will get taken away from you from all the way back when you started filing on it. So just be cognizant of that. So what are the great benefits of operating as a business? One is you have greater control of how much you actually need to pay Uncle Sam in taxes. Because like we said, all the things that you get to write off as a business expense now lowers your income. And that means you don't pay taxes on that anymore. Trying to move things into the business expense category before your income there is one of the biggest tax benefits of operating as a business. Again, that goes into paying things, with the before tax money than with after tax money. Because in your normal life, you're a W-2 employee. If you work for somebody, government already takes their money straight up. They take it out of your check before you get it. You're left to spend what's left. And So if you're in a regular tax bracket like most people, that means every dollar that you make, you are actually only able to spend 70 cents from.
Damn.
So you're already taking a big hit. So now if you can move all your stuff to before taxes, then you're paying less and you actually get to use that full 100% that you're making.
And most big businesses, they do exactly this.
Yeah, you're, as much as possible, I'm moving things above there because I will pay as little tax as possible. So rather than just being self-employed where you have to pay 15.3% of the taxes on whatever income it is, you can pay yourself a salary. And then the business gets to expense whatever they're paying as the taxes, covering that side, and then you as the employee get another half. So it's saving you about 6.5% in taxes.
Okay.
So there's that one portion of paying yourself a salary. The other great benefit of having a business and operating as a business is the flexibility with your own time. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, on my personal YouTube channel, which is also linked on our YouTube channel for Basic Money Podcast, I'm a very big person in creating your dream schedule, making your own schedule. And for something like this, when you're an entrepreneur and you're making your own schedule, you really do want to make it realistic. Like, a lot of people think like, oh, I'm my own boss, great, I can, kind of relax and do whatever I want, which to a degree you can, but you also have to do work. You have to have a schedule that you follow every day. Because if that's something that you don't have, like in a lot of businesses, like you have your schedule, you work. And the main reason why they keep that consistent is because then you're physically programming yourself to know, okay, from 8 to 3, I'm doing work. But the beauty of being your own boss is that you make your own schedule, And if you're realistic with it and you say, if I really, grind and I really put in the time and effort to get to my goals every day, and I do it all from 8 to 12, great. Do whatever you want. But I would say from a business-minded standpoint, like Josh and I are in, we get to the point where, we do want to relax and we have our time to relax. But if we have days where we're done early, there's a lot of back-end stuff that we could do as far as bookkeeping, or which we'll do an episode on at some point. But bookkeeping, marketing, and even fun things like going to certain events and meeting people through networking. So there are different ways that you can go about it, but that flexibility with yourself comes with discipline. And if you already at a base level have a growth mindset where you always want to improve and you always want to do better for yourself, this will be no problem for you.
Yep. And one of the other great benefits is that it's now diversifying your income. You can still work your W-2 job and do a side hustle or whatever. And I mean, that's how I started out. I had a job, I started something on the side. My side started making as much as my main job, and eventually the main job went away, and now my side is my main job.
It's the dream. It takes a lot of effort though,
Yeah.
Because especially like if you're working a full-time schedule, like you go home, you usually want to sleep or, eat and sleep. And that's it. So it does take time, and I think the most underrated time that you should be using if this is something you want to do is your weekends. Like usually we are, especially for a lot of people that work all weekend and want to enjoy themselves on the weekends, it's rough. But even if you spend a couple hours every morning just drawing outlines and doing things that you can even consider work to get paid for, there's little ways that you could build yourself up. I think said this in one of the last episodes. I started off working maybe an hour after work every day, then 2. Then I realized 2's a lot. Maybe I could do 3. Okay, maybe I can't do 3. Let me do 2.5. There's ways that you could structure yourself and build up a work ethic to where if you want to do something like this, like start a side hustle while you're working, you can find time to do it. So don't use time as an excuse.
So, what are the drawbacks of operating as a business now?
Nothing.
Well, let's not say that.
That's what everyone thinks though. It's, I have this business and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, let's get down and do it.
So as Keith was talking about it, it is time consuming to build a business, to start from scratch, or even to keep one operating. It takes a lot of time. There is a general saying in the entrepreneur community that an entrepreneur is somebody who's willing to work 80 hours a week for themselves to not work 40 hours a week for somebody else.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that's a little true.
It's weird how it works. Like I find myself doing, I'll do work in the middle of the night, and I'm like, but to me it doesn't feel like work. To me it's like I'm working for myself, so this is what I want to do.
Yeah, so just know that if you're looking for a work-life balance and you think that operating a business and starting that and everything like that, you'll have all the free time in the world. No, you'll have less free time.
This all the free time in the world thing is a myth.
Yeah.
Like you can have more time and you can be flexible with your schedule to where if you wanted to, let's say, work from 8 to 12, go hang out with friends from 12 to 4 and then come back home from 5 to 8 and do some more. Like, this is the flexibility we're talking about.
This is technically my free time, is making this video to educate you. So just know that it's all work. So no matter what, just know that, you're going to work a lot. Yeah, eventually you build it up to something really big. If that happens in the future and you get Jeff Bezos money, then yeah, you have more time than everything. But I can tell you that when he first started, he was probably working 100 hours a week. So just know that it takes time.
There's a lot of big things to look forward to in starting a business and a lot of big dreams you can have. But I think if you are someone that sees yourself in the long run having this schedule, then for you should be fine with it. But there's some more drawbacks that obviously come with it.
One is that it is a big financial risk. Now, with risk comes rewards. Yes, you can make a lot more money doing it than, waiting for a raise at your job or whatever like that. But it is risky. And that's why I recommend that, you start with the side hustle. Keep your main employer there so you have your base, and then try to slowly grow and build up until eventually it makes as much or replaces it.
Yeah.
And if you want, work both. If it's feasible for you and the other business that you have is more hands-off and you're making money, great. Make more money. It's awesome. But just know that, I understand there is a risk. You don't want to jump from one to making no money whatsoever, because then, you're going to scramble, you're going to make bad decisions, and you're going to feel like all of this was a lie and a myth. No, it is great, it is awesome, but it is risky. So just make sure you are mitigating that risk as much as possible.
Yeah, and I would say it's understanding the risk as far as what exactly it is your plan is. I know for a lot of people, let's say they start a side hustle, they're making a little bit of money, and they said, you know what, I'm going to do this full time, I need the time, I'm going to get rid of my job so I have the time. But if you have no plan for that time and your mind is just, I'm going to have all this time, I'm going to obviously do more, it doesn't work like that. If you're not doing more now with the time you have, you're not going to do more with all the time you receive from just getting rid of your job.
Yeah, I'd recommend before you ever leap from your main job, whatever it is, that, your side business make at least 50 to 75% of what you're making there. That can hopefully transition more, but then also just know that as a business, you're going to have to set aside money for taxes and everything like that you don't have to think about on your W-2.
Yep.
Because usually you take home, you're like, oh, cool, I take home.
Yeah, it's like also the finance side, and we'll get into an episode on like bookkeeping and all that, but yeah, getting to the point where you get the money, it's not just, here's money, spend it, it's here's money, put 30% of that into a savings and do not touch that thing because you're going to owe that money back. You don't want to be in a situation where taxes come and you go, oh, that money.
Yeah.
That's not a good look.
Don't have that money.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Yeah. One of the other drawbacks is it does complicate your tax planning. Because now, like we were saying, you have to set aside money. You have to plan this. You're probably going, as you get more and more busy and your business complicates, you're going to have to get professional help on that. Yes, there are bookkeeping softwares like QuickBooks and everything that can help you manage a little bit, but eventually you're going to need somebody to help you look through and make sure that you're capturing everything that you can.
And then as far as like a tax professional, that's going to be like almost your consultant.
Yeah, your CPA, bookkeeper, accountant. You want somebody who can guide you, not just basically take the numbers that you give them and then give you the report back.
Yeah.
Like you want to have that dialogue, you want to go through and so you want somebody that you can plan your business with and your future and be like, hey, what would happen if I want to get a car for the business? And then they could tell you like, okay, this would probably be the best way to do that. So their job is not to tell you no, their job is to tell you the best way to do what you want to do.
Yep. It's always good to have a good relationship like that with the business partner for tax purposes.
Yeah. And then the last thing is it's gonna be stressful. It's gonna be super stressful.
Yeah, it's like you go from the job where
the stressful job that you hate, and you're like,
that you're gonna get that paycheck on this day. You're gonna get that bonus check on this day. I remember like at one of our last jobs that we worked together, I always said like I hate it, but whenever that paycheck comes in, I'm like, oh cool, I got paid. Depending on your business, you're gonna see a lot of ups and downs.
It is nice in the fact that you could wake up that day with no money and go to bed that night with money. It's also one of those, you wake up that day with no money, and no matter how much you work, what you did, you might go to bed with no money.
Yeah.
So it is that stressful, it is that up and down. That's why in our other episodes we teach about having an emergency fund, that cushion that can help, ride the waves of the ups and downs on it. But just know, that stress doesn't really go away. And as a business, no matter what industry you're in, I mean, there's just going to be stresses in that industry.
Yeah.
The one thing about all this is you don't need to create a business with the sole purpose of leaving your job. If you love your job, creating a side business or hustle or something that you can just move some of your daily costs, like you were talking about, to that business expense can help reduce your taxes from your other job. Let's go with being an influencer or a model or anything like that, just because back when people were talking about Donald Trump's tax returns, how he wrote off $175,000 of hair and makeup. Why? Because he's a personality, he's a figure. It's important for him that he looks good. So if you're an influencer, a model, you can start deducting your trips to the salon, your nails, all those things that you normally were going to spend money on anyway. Like now they're a deduction, and now you can write that off against your income. But they have to actually be a true business. You can't just lie and be like, oh, I do this, and yeah, I do that on the side. Like, no, you actually have to try to make money in that endeavor. So that is the big power secret on that, is if your main job makes you a lot of money, you're securing it, it pays your interest, you know you're not going to lose it, and it's easy for you, that's great. Don't leave it, but start something on the side, whether it's something small that, you know, can at least generate you $500 in profit, but you can move a lot of expenses of your personal life over there to save in taxes. That's going to be the big win. And eventually, if you want to build that up and, you know, make that a main thing, you can. But it's just good to always think about how you can not pay Uncle Sam more than you need to.
And I think it's important to know too, it's never too late to start. The earlier the better with these things, because the more time you have to really build yourself up, if it's something small that you want to grow, it also gives you time to get used to things and learn more things as you're going through and through, especially if you have someone like a tax professional helping you out throughout this process, to where you start learning the ins and outs of what you could do to save more money. And hopefully what we give you has helped you out a lot as well, and has given you some enlightenment on what you need to do and why operating a business and having your own business is going to benefit you. So until the next episode, as always, we have so many more things to talk about, and we're so excited to do so. We are going to be releasing the occasional 2 episodes a week, so look out for those. And until next time, we hope you guys learned a lot, and we hope you like the channel too.
Yeah, and go think of a business to start today.
Yes, hopefully it makes money.
It has to. Even $1, it has to.